The views, information, and opinions expressed during the following program are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent the views of Access Communications, its representatives, or its employees.
Check it out.
Well, let me tell it like this. It's getting harder nowadays, so we got to uplift with another episode of RezX TV. I'm Brad Bellegarde.
And I'm Tyrene.
And this is the Indigenous Lifestyle Show.
For everyone.
That means all of you, you know. Man, Ty, it's been such a while, such a long time for us to be able to like kick it on the desk, you know, bring it back to where we started. Right here, you know?
About a year ago, I'd say we started up RezX again. So it's been a wild ride.
Yeah,
it's good to be back in studio.
You remember when we went to Mioswin?
Oh yeah. Oh, I think I need to go get my eyebrows redone.
You know, like that was your first experience of that. I remember saying, I want the Tom Benjo.
Oh yeah. And you got just lined up real nice too.
I did, you know, like we had so many good experiences, but we're back here, 2024, 2025 season, and what's been going on in your world?
Me, I've just been focusing on writing and helping out my family. Recently, I helped with a script for a friend's film called Maneater, so that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, that sounds kind of intimidating.
It is a little intimidating. It's a feminist zombie movie that was filmed in Regina. So.
Oh, irony. That's ironic, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Zombies eat.
Exactly.
All genders.
All genders, but this one specifically man-eater. So
that's cool, you know? It's like, I'm happy to hear you writing, you know, like doing more spoken word. If everybody out there doesn't know, Ty's a very, very great spoken word artist, and I'm not just saying that because she's my co-host. It's because I also like to write, not spoken word, I like to rap word, you know, and
well,
talk
that's
rhyme.
Poetry in itself.
It is,
yeah.
it's poetry. You know, growing up in high school, it was kind of funny because people would be like, oh, I never say I'm a poet. I'm like, that sounded not cool. It's like, I'm a rapper.
Yeah.
But
it sounds much cooler to...
And now I'm in my mid-40s, I'm like, I'm a poet.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I think it takes a lot to not only be able to write through rhyme, but have the rhythm and melody to do that. That's something that I commend you for, because that's a lot to do. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of like the same way we admire individuals that know how to like do math.
Yeah.
I was like, no, that's like me trying to make a turkey dinner for my whole family. I just don't even know where to start.
Oh yeah, exactly. Me neither. I burnt the turkey last year, so.
Oh, nice. Did you eat it?
I tried.
Okay.
I tried.
That's cool. So anyways, this year, the season started, we actually did a lot of different, we had tons of fun, you know, like I can't wait to like see what we have coming up for 2025. You know, some of the things that are coming out, big talk that's happening in the industry right now. When I say industry, I mean the indigenous world, is like things like cows and plows and, you know, like, and like the U.S. election started, like all this stuff that we just chit chat about. You remember like pre-pandemic, we wouldn't even have thought of things like this?
No, the 2024 world looks completely different than it even did in 2023. Like, it's just wild. It's news after news after news, some good, some bad.
Yeah, but news is news, though.
News is news, yeah.
Exactly. You know, it reminds me of this one movie I used to like to watch called Anchorman.
Okay, yeah.
Because I love Lamp. You know?
Okay.
You gotta watch it. If you don't know, now you know. So anyways, we got some cool stuff coming up for you. We have a great guest coming up on this episode, you know, somebody I've known for quite some time. And just to be able to get back in the studio here for everyone that's out there, you know, like I think that the biggest thing that we have going on for RezX TV is 20 years of RezX. But it started with Gen X, you know, and like in our first episode, we actually talked about it with Chris, founder of RezX and Gen X. You know, in honor of that longevity that's been going on, I brought some vinyl, some records that are below the desk right here, like Snoop Dogg, Ice Cube, you know, 8-Ball, MJG, Dr. Dre. And when our guest comes on, we're going to be able to talk about it. Look,
this is exciting to have another music lover on the show.
Indeed. Like, what are your big hopes and dreams for 2025?
Oh, that's a big question. I just hope that all of my loved ones are safe and happy, and I hope that I can just continue to be creative. What about you? What are you looking forward to in 2025?
You know what? I'm looking forward to 2025, actually. That's pretty much it. Like, I don't like to say, like, when I think of, like, what do you want to be when you grow up, that used to ask you.
Yeah.
What do I want to be next year? I want to be healthy, you know?
Yes.
I want to be happy, you know? And I want to be able to help people that ask for help. But at the same time, I also want to have the courage to be able to ask for help when I need it.
That's a big one too, and that's a lifelong learning journey.
Exactly.
Is learning when it's good to ask for help. So
You know what's cool? Like, actually, I had the privilege of taking my mental health first aid. You know, like learning different triggers and stuff like this from talking to people. And then it's so funny as a First Nations person, like all the traumas that we were talking about, it's
Yeah.
like we've just dealt with it our whole life. So it's kind of like, oh,
It's
wow,
just
that
like-
was a real trauma?
yeah, like it doesn't feel real when it's so normalized within the communities. And then when you're taking this training, you're like, oh, that's serious.
It's like I remember that in grade 8. You know?
Yeah, this is just regular life.
No, seriously,
Yeah.
I'm very excited to have you back back at the desk here, both of us representing,
Yeah, I'm
keeping
happy
it
to be
funky
back.
like George Clinton, you know?
I guess so.
Yeah. You know who that is?
Well, yeah, George, he was a...
Not Bill Clinton, George Clinton.
No, I don't know who George Clinton is. I was like, the president? Okay.
No, that's Bill. George is with Parliament. You know, some funk. There's some homework for you.
Okay,
You know,
okay.
we're great to be back here. You know, RezX TV, we're privileged. I want to give big shout outs to Chris Ross for actually keeping RezX going. Gen X, from there to here to now, before internet, after internet, pre-pandemic, post-pandemic. And we're still in here creating like a resurrection of an Indigenous lifestyle show for
Everyone.
Exactly. Yeah, we'll be bringing our guest on right away, and I look forward to chit-chatting with a good bro of mine, and we'll be back here on Access TV. And we're back here on RezX TV, an Indigenous lifestyle show.
For everyone.
And we actually have somebody here, so it goes like this. 1, 2, 3 into the 4. Brad Bellegarde and
Jada Yee is at the door.
Exactly. This is actually one of our guests here. Introduce yourself. This is Jada Yee. I've known him for a long time, but I'll let him just be humble and let him know who you are.
Hi, I'm Jada.
There you go. Right on, man. First of all, thanks for coming down to RezX
Absolutely,
TV.
yeah.
You know, it's like, for those of you that are longtime viewers of RezX TV, Jada actually was on this show pre-pandemic. That was like 2019. And what were you doing back then when you came on the show?
I just became GM of a metal fabrication company. And so
Wow.
I've
Whoa.
done some stuff since then, but yeah.
Tell me about that. What was that like?
That was definitely an eye-opener. It was great. I got to work for a nation, and so to kind of bring economic development to a nation was phenomenal. It's a great nation. It's a great company. They've grown huge since then, and I'm really proud of them.
Cool. Like like a lot of these new reserves are like, you see it right now firsthand. Now is like we're in our 40s. You know, it's like for those of you that are watching right now, we've known each other since pre-internet. Now, put it that way. Ty's over there looking like she's like, what? What was
Yeah,
life
well,
like that? Hey.
Pre-tie, they knew each other. So.
Exactly. You know what? Like you worked at the casino. Like, let's go. So he's so OG that he went to a high school that nobody's even really heard of. You know, a high school whose mascot actually, right, was like a mythical creature.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a unicorn. I'm not gonna say what high school, but if you want to figure it out, you figure it out. Now, you started the casino right away. High school, I remember like you started working in the casino like 2000s.
1999, I got hired on at the casino.
And that what?
My birth year.
Yeah, there you go. Well, there you go.
Okay, well, I instantly just became an elder, but thank you.
There you go.
Appreciate that.
Tell the people out there like what nation you represent.
Wood Mountain, Lakota First Nation,
There you go.
representing.
How kola.
Haukola, Inakiapi, Jada. Leapento Washtekte, which
Oh.
means, hi, my name is Jada Yee from Wood Mountain, and today is a great day.
It is wash day, you know. Hey, honey, wash day. Hey, you know, that's awesome. And you know, Jada. When I first met Jada, actually, you know, he was the first person that actually we used to go to these like soccer. Like soccer was a big thing, growing up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Soccer because it was like inexpensive, you know, like, to go to these soccer like games and stuff like that. But we used to have. That's why I brought records. When you see me talking, we got those records down there. Because we used to go to like hip hop parties.
Yes.
You know?
Underground hip hop parties.
Underground hip hop parties. We call them underground tie because they were secret.
Yes.
You guys had secret hip hop parties?
Yeah, at different warehouses and stuff. You know?
In Regina?
In Regina.
Whoa,
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
cool.
So shout out to TCOB. Shout out to Deportivo. You know, like this is
Danny Green,
Yeah.
Joe Aqua, all those guys.
Yeah, it was like, and Jada and I were the only Indigenous people that hung out with the non-Indigenous people who were like from Jamaica, they're from Eritrea, they're from like Chile, El Salvador, but it was just Jada and I, so we clicked right away, and since then it was kind of an inspiring story that you have actually moving from the casino, you went to university. What are you doing right now?
Oh, so right now I'm a managing partner at One Hoop Indigenous Advisory Services with a couple of friends of mine, and we are expanding national. And so it's a great move. So I'm basically a business owner right now. So
tell me about that. Tell me, there's so when you say like a couple, you're a partner with what I guess the best way to relate it, Ty, would be like with your crew that you meet in university, right?
Yeah.
It's like tell me like what your focus is with One Hoop.
So right now, what we do is we're consultants, we're advisors, and we work with we focus on the calls to action, but most specifically, call to action number 92, which
Economic
is
development. Yeah, economic.
Yeah. So and there's two things to that. So there's procurement, there's also employment, and so what we do is we work with on the non-Indigenous, we work with companies, mostly medium and to large. And we help them out with their policies, we'll help with their procurement policies as well. But on the other side, Indigenous, we work with First Nations on economic development, staffing, everything like that.
So for people that are out there watching, like we got a lot of youth viewers and stuff like that. They're thinking about going to university. Maybe they're in like grade 9, grade 10, or whatever it might be. Break down, just dumb it down for me. You know, I know I'm info, but I don't know this info, so give me some info. What is procurement?
Procurement is all about how you attract business, how you bid on business. That's really how it is.
Like tenders and stuff like when
Exactly. So think of it as contracts and or competitions. And so you have a company that says, hey, we're gonna sell lanyards, right? And you say, I'm B. Radley, and I make lanyards, right? There's also, Ty can do lanyards, and so you guys will compete to say who can make that lanyard.
Okay, that's cool. So what's that like for you actually? Like, let's go back to like, so you started at SGC, Casino Regina.
Yeah.
What did you start as? What was your first job? Was it a slot attendant?
Nope, I was.
Food and beverage?
No, casual security guard.
Oh yeah, that's right. You were security.
Yeah.
So Todd, when he started, you weren't even born yet. So
Not even born
you
yet.
didn't even have ID.
No, and you probably would have been IDing me up until right now.
Yeah.
So when you started, then like, did you have a goal in mind,
No.
like what you were gonna?
No, at that point in life, I was lost. And so my mom worked there, and so she just said, just go and apply there. And, I was really just kind of couch surfing. I was just kind of living with my mom. and yeah, and so I was just there to work to just, to be honest, just to kind of fulfill my partying days. So, and that's really what it was.
And then I know that from there, then you moved on to, then you started doing, you were a food and beverage supervisor, wasn't it? Or manager?
Do you want to know my exact route?
Show the route, yeah,
Okay.
tell the route. I mean, so
here,
people out there can watch and listen and see, you don't ever know where you're gonna get until you actually go through a process,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
And Ty's going through that process right now, so
Yeah.
it's like, so she's gonna get some knowledge on this.
So all this has spanned over 20 years, and so it was casual security, then full-time security, and then I went to a supervisor security, then I went to surveillance monitor, and then I went to marketing coordinator, and then I went to show lounge manager, back to marketing coordinator, then I went to food and beverage, and I went to slot manager, bank manager, and then I think, pit boss, and then I became a casino manager, and then I did that for a couple of years, then I went back to food and beverage for probably 5 or 6 years, and then I ended up in HR as their Indigenous coordinator.
So you've seen every aspect of that casino.
Yeah, I'm like the Sam Rothstein, if you guys know what that is. Oh, there you are. So Casino is a massive movie in our age group, and I'm like Robert De Niro. I used to call myself Sam Rothstein.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'll add that to the list.
Sam Rothstein. Now crazy. It's like now you also went to university though.
Yeah.
So when did you go to university? You were working in a casino.
Yep.
Well, what inspired you to go back to university or start university?
Yeah, great question. So I'm a high school dropout.
Okay.
And so I met the love of my life at the casino. Met her, I think, a couple months after I started. And
that's
then,
where I met her because I worked in food and beverage as well.
Yeah, you know my wife, absolutely. And so shortly after we met, she became pregnant with our first child. And so when I had a child, I thought, I want my child to be proud of me. And so, and you know what, and all kudos to SAS Gaming. Back then they had like a Indigenous or Aboriginal mentorship program. And so it was a lady named Elma Shulak and Deb Murray who took the time and approached me and said, you know what, we think you should be in this program. And I was really ashamed. And I said, I don't have my grade 12. And they said, no, you can go as a mature student. And so I thought, what's a mature student?
Yeah.
So they sent me to university as a mature student. And I really focused. And I was getting like 95s and like 99s.
Oh, that's really awesome.
And so my confidence was building up. And I thought, no, I'm actually smart enough to do this. And so I started to go to, taking my diploma in my business. And then I wanted to go further, and I got my degree. And I thought, you know what, I want to go back. And then I got my master's in business. And so I'm probably going to go back in the next year or two and get my PhD.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So, yeah, absolutely.
And will you be doing your PhD at the University of Regina again, or?
I'm not too sure. I think for me, I would like to kind of go someplace where there's Indigenous. I'm looking at possibly Australia
awesome.
Or New Zealand. Learn from our Indigenous cousins from down south. So I definitely want to focus in on looking about Indigenous business and procurement. That's definitely my passion as well, and definitely have some more data as to just the positive impacts that we as Indigenous businesses bring to the economy.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. So
That's super cool. So for everyone out there that's watching right now, if you are a dropout, because I didn't finish high school either.
Yeah.
I always say I wasn't old school or new school. I was skip school, but still attend school. But same thing for me. It's like I got approached by somebody at the university. They said, we have a mature student. You don't need to have a grade 12, because I was actually ashamed of it. Like I felt shame for not finishing school. And back then it was kind of like, yeah, I'm just going to get a job and just work through it. That's where I started the casino. Just work through it, because every one of our bros started a casino. I was like,
well, because it paid so well.
It did,
right?
yeah. It's like, and they had like a mandate to hire Indigenous people.
Yep.
So, but for me to go back to school, just to let you know, it's like if you take some time off and stuff as a mature student, people can go back. If you have grade 10, grade 9, grade 11, as long as you're 21 and over, and you can actually communicate in English, right? So it's kind of like yeah, I think it was a great job. And going back for your PhD, then I guess that's kind of cool. How's that going to work? It's like, you want to be a doctor? Should I call you doctor candidate? No, that's really cool. I think. What has that done for your confidence? Like knowing that, because you got your master's. So let's jump back. You convocated with your Bachelor of Business Administration. And then when I was at university, because I went way later, I went like 2011, you already were done. And then you went back, right, to get your master's.
Yep. Well, when I was taking my, I got my diploma, and then I became the casino manager. And then I thought, no, I'm good in life. I'm happy. You know, I've reached the job that I've always wanted, and I've gotten, you know, my diploma. I thought that was good enough. And then when I went back to food and beverage 5 years later, I thought, no, I'm not done, right? I want to finish off. And so I actually worked full time. I was basically the night manager in food and beverage. And then I went to school full time. So I was doing 2 full-time jobs. I had 2 children at the time. Now I got 4, but you know, big kudos to my wife. That's a huge support of mine. I definitely couldn't have achieved all of this without her support. But I mean, like it's tough. But at the same time, you got to just really focus and see what the big goal is. For me, what drives me is that, you know, I want to learn, and I want to inspire. I want to help out the youth, right? And so when I was going to high school, I remember when I was looking for a career advice, the lady told me, well, you're Indigenous, and so you're either going to RCMP or military. And I was like, well, I don't want to do that, right?
Those are the only 2 options, apparently.
And for me, I'm like, well, I don't want to do that, right? And so I see so many Indigenous that, you know, and this is no disrespect, but it's like they go into trades, right? They want to do this, but it's like, I want to inspire the youth to live their dreams, right? To say, listen, be those lawyers, be those doctors, whatever you want to do, whether it's an astronaut, whether it's a mechanic, just truly fulfill your true potential.
Exactly. Like, you know, like if I could go to university to get my PhD in being a rapper, I would get it.
Your player-hater degree.
My PhD. You know, like that's that. So now with One Hoop, One Hoop. For those out there that don't know, it's like his partners are also. They're also bros. Like when I said the Tom Benjo tie, you know, I want the Tom Benjo cut. That is one of the partners. Cadmus is a bro. Most people know him as Chief Cadmus DeLorme. Funny story. I'll tell you a funny story. So I used to live on like in a new development area of Regina, and for about a year, I'd go to the co-op. Give me coffee in the morning. Oh, it's on me. It's on me. And then one day I went in there, and then he's like, oh yeah. He's like, I just seen you on TV. I'm like, oh, RezX. He's like, no, for the news. And then all of a sudden it popped up again. It was Cadmus. So the guy thought I was Cadmus and give me free coffee. But now he just gives me free coffee still.
That's amazing.
Isn't it? Like, but like the way that we've grown and stuff, and like, what does it mean to you to have partners that are also more than just being your business partners, like part of your family? They're pretty much family, you know. Everybody's wives know each other. We're all brothers and stuff. So, what does that mean to you, and what does that do for you in your career path?
Well, it motivates me, and so going back to university, right? I was very fortunate to. You know, when people talk about university, they talk about partying and all type of stuff, and I didn't want that, right? Like I was a mature student, and so I wanted to surround myself with people that align with my goals. And so I was very fortunate to find. It started with Mike Dubois, and then from Mike Dubois it became like Tom Benjo, then Cadmus, and then, you know, we all started like instead of like partying, we would either study or like bead. Right? And so, and we kind of got everyone's wives involved, and we're this big kind of group that, you know, we vacation together, we celebrate together, we mourn together, right? But they are truly my brothers and my sisters. And so owning a business was very easy with them, but also when we're in business, it's not bros, it's business partners. Right?
Yeah.
So, you know, and that's crucial when it comes to business, right? We got to take off the bro hat and put on the partner hat and say, okay,
we're going to have Sam hat.
Yeah, we're going to have some tough conversations, and we're gonna disagree, and that's fine. You know, we're doing what's best for business, because what we want to create is not only an impact for our families, but we want to grow One Hoop to employ Indigenous all across Canada, right? And so that's the common goal that we're doing.
Awesome, man. Well, you know what? Congrats on that. You know, like it is possible, Ty.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
It's like you finally feel like this move right here. Because prior to this, you were working for other corporations, but prior to this endeavor that you're on, do you finally feel like more complete with One Hoop? Do you feel like the most opportunity, but at the same time the most confidence? Like you feel good about? There's 3 of you, really, but your team's growing.
Yeah. I think when people find out how many people are at, or how little people are at one hoop.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks
Not
that
little because he's tall.
6'3". But yeah, no, I think when people hear like there's only a few of us, and they're like, I thought you were a major company, because there is no 9 to 5, right? As an Indigenous business owner, there's no 9 to 5. It's 24/7, and we're always going. We always want to push that envelope because we're always striving towards, making a positive impact. We want to be the first, right? And we want to have that blue ocean. We say, yeah, we're first, but we're going to bring people with us. We're not going to be territorial. We're not going to be like, this is my sandbox and get away. We don't want that, right? When it comes to One Hoop, we want to, a reason why we called it One Hoop is because we want to expand our circle to include everyone, right? And I think that just kind of helps and strengthens our brand of who we are, right? When people look at us, they say they do top quality work, but they also are for the people. So,
Speaking of the people, okay, so last year, 2023, they have this thing called the Artist of the Year for Grammys, like New Artist of the Year for music, the Rookie of the Year. But you were actually recognized as what of the year last year?
yeah. So I was recognized as Regina's Citizen of the Year.
There you go.
Citizen of the
And
Year.
in honor of that, I wore my citizen. So seriously, Ty. So Citizen of the Year. And what was that like? That's just like it's so cool because you're my bro, but at the same time, so cool because I know you in a professional world. And like to see somebody you recognize or even know, or even just an acquaintance that you've met.
Yeah.
It's very cool to see that. Where did this come from?
So it kind of just came from, a nomination. I guess there's multiple nominations for myself. And I think it's just, people say, wow, this is fantastic, but that's 25 years of volunteer service, of being in the communities and doing all this stuff. So
So you work for free.
yeah, absolutely, right?
Nice.
But it was great, and all the awards that I get, I'm so grateful for, right? But they all kind of go in the closet, but I'm happy to see that there's something that my children can see and say, hey, my dad has made a better place for this. For
Yeah,
our world.
so we'll keep that humble. Like, congrats on that.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, I think one of our biggest achievements is being our age and still having hair. Ty. You know what? It's so cool having you here. Like, I got to ask you a question.
Yeah.
We come back on the next episode?
Yeah, absolutely.
For real?
Let's do it.
Right on. We're going to wrap it up here. You heard it right here. The Citizen of the Year is he's the resident of the year now. RezX TV. I'm Brad Bellegarde.
I'm Tyrane.
And you are.
And I'm Jada Yee.
And you know what? We're on Access Now, RezX TV. Thanks a lot, Jada, man. We'll talk in the next episode. Boom.
Wood Mountain, Lakota First Nation,
There you go.
representing.
How kola?
Haukola, Inakiapi, Jada. Leapento Washtekte.
Oh.
Hi, my name is JD from Wood Mountain, and today is a great day.
It is wash day, Hey, honey, wash day. Hey, that's awesome.
If you'd like to share your feedback on the program you just watched, contact us today